Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another night of North American ESL Challenger League. It's Boggs, it's Pineapple Phillips, and more solid North American Counter-Strike forthcoming for you. Nate, it's the last day of the week, last matchup of the week. We got another banger coming up.
Yes, we do. We are going to follow M80 again today, this time in their bout versus Life's a Game, Lag Gaming for short. It's another matchup with a big disparity in ranking between the two teams, but Lag is another team on the come up, in my opinion, that's looking quite good, that's building up with a relatively new roster, and that is going to try and take on the likes of the Titans that are M80.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of improvement from Lag over the last couple of months when I first started really paying attention to how this team was growing, and I like the fundamentals this team has. They have some good individuals as well, so they're a fun team to watch, but let's put that aside for just a moment and talk over the playoff format a little bit, because things have changed over the past couple of seasons. It is a little bit different, and the format, first and second place get a skip into the second round of the upper bracket, third through sixth into the upper bracket. They're traditional playoff style, and then 7th through 10th into the lower brackets. So they are in essentially single elimination, but that means there's 10 spots available in playoffs. Only one team outside of that gets a guaranteed spot in ECL the next season, with the last two teams instantly relegated, and then 12th, 13th, and 14th into the relegation tournament, which lately has actually become a bit of a bloodbath.
Yeah, relegation has been very much a bloodbath. Lots of teams hungry to move up, but I do like the format in that it allows more than half of the teams into playoffs, even if they don't have that extra breathing room in 6th through 10th. It's still, or 7th through 10th, excuse me. It gives them a good shot to at least try and vie for something. Again, these teams on the come up that have a slow start to the season, it gives them a chance to redeem themselves, eke a way in, and then perhaps make a little bit of a surprise splash in the lower bracket, at least giving them some notoriety going into the next season.
And let's see which teams are having a little bit of a slow start and which teams are head and shoulders above on the standings as we roll on through. At the top of the table, it's NRG, 12-2. They've played 14 matches. They're actually almost done with their season, Nate, at least the regular season here. So NRG getting all these games done early. Nouns just behind them, 11-1. Party Astronauts have pulled ahead of Wildcard, so we do not have a tie for that third place spot. It's solely Party Astronauts after a 2-0 win versus Life's a Game yesterday evening. And also, Boss and Elevate's tie has been shattered as well. 6-6 for Boss, 5-7 for Elevate, now tied with Lag.
And I believe Wildcard did drop a map versus Mythic, which is a pretty sizable upset. That probably explains that 8-2 record now. Wildcard stumbling a bit there. Life's a Game, as you mentioned, tied with Elevate, 5-7. Keep in mind, Lag is one of those teams we're following today. Ezolos Laser at 4-6. Fluffy Aimer is that team we followed yesterday versus M80. Again, that was one of the teams I was highlighting as a slow starter. 3-9 tied with Take Flight. And of course, those bottom two. Limitless, just a rough start to the season. They were trying to rebuild and survive with some stand-ins to retain their ECL spot for the start of the season. And Perseverance, being disqualified from this season, are not going to be playing any more games.
Yeah, so there's really only one relegation spot left for those bottom teams, and Legacy has yet to play any games in this season of ECL, so we'll see what happens there too moving forward, but it's going to be a bit of a dogfight into the tail end of the season for Limitless particularly to try and claw their way out of the relegation zone. They've already played 12 matches as well, so they're starting to run a little short on steam. But, Nate, back to the matter at hand. We do have our games coming up. We have M80 and Lag, but there's also one more game we're going to be broadcasting here on the ESL Twitch channels. That's going to be Elevate versus Take Flight. And given the fact that Elevate dropped a map to Mythic yesterday and a Take Flight team who I think is a little bit stronger than that Mythic roster, maybe some blood in the water that Take Flight can take advantage of.
Yeah, maybe some blood in the water they can take advantage of. Take Flight, I can see they're in the wrong chat. It is getting a bit confusing because of Cologne running. That means our stream is ESL CSC, as you know, if you're watching. And of course, Elevate versus Take Flight is over on ESL CSD, getting into the doldrums a bit here. But again, that is because there is a massive tournament going on the main channels. But with that said, with everyone directed in the right direction for what they want to watch, let's talk about this actual matchup that we have this evening, Boggs. We do have, as I mentioned, M80 versus Life's a Game, Lag for short. And M80, the same roster as yesterday, of course. Rex, Sin, Swisher, Slacks, Lake, everybody able to pop off individually. They stick together. They play very well. They play a smothering style of Counter-Strike where trading is the name of the game. Lag, though. Experative, Nick X, OG Wizard, Nyx, and Weeza comprise the roster, and they have 2 international players. I believe one is Turkish and one OG Wizard being Ukrainian. So maybe some foreign talent really lifting up this team in this season.
Yeah, Experative plays under the Turkish flag. Nick X, though, is probably your second fiddle to OG Wizard. And him, Nyx, and Weeza all flying the good old red, white, and blue of the US of A. And so you're going to really look towards OG Wizard and Nick X to get a lot of work done for this lag roster. Those two are their primary foils. OG Wizard, very capable with the AWP, also very capable with the rifle in hand. He is not a liability without the op. And that's what makes his role on this lag team so impactful, is that even when lag don't have the money to get his op, even when it's a map like an Ancient, where that T-side op isn't exactly necessary or even sometimes a bit of a detriment to your team, he can still have a lot of impact on the Kalashnikov, on the M4. Very versatile player. Nick X, good, aggressive, and good for the multi-kills. And I'm excited, too, especially seeing how Fluffy Aimers performed yesterday, particularly on that first best of one. They showcased what they've been working up, and they put a lot of effort into that first map, took M80 to overtime. And so I'm hoping to see something from lag that may be a little bit better than what we saw from Fluffy Aimers last night, as lag were a playoff team last year. They're a team with playoff aspirations, currently in a playoff spot in that 8th place area. And I have a little bit of expectations for this lag team over the next couple seasons. I would like to see some growth here and now.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are exciting and coming up, as you mentioned. I think Fluffy Aimers is one. Lag I put in the same camp, albeit a bit ahead, much like you do. But let's talk about this first best of one. We do have the Veto at the ready, and here it is. Of course, M80, the higher seed, will elect to be Team B. That means they ban second in a snake-style format. Lag take out Inferno first. Makes sense. It's their permaban. M80 take out Nuke. Makes sense. It's their permaban. Pretty stock standard there. Dust 2 is the second ban from M80. It's a map they don't play often. They have a 1-3 record, again, against a lot of international talent when they're out abroad. Lag go for Anubis and Mirage, those two being removed. Of course, Anubis was a strong map yesterday for M80. Mirage is also a pug map that they aren't too successful on. M80 with the decision between Ancient, a map we saw yesterday, a Bastion map for them, and Vertigo. They elect to go with Vertigo for this first best of one. And it doesn't make sense in terms of actual maps played, but I'm sure M80 are looking to get reps in on this map because they still have a stellar record of 4-1.
Yeah, and a very interesting point to note about M80's Vertigo. The last team they played on the map is a certain French team called Vitality. And that score line was 13-11 in favor of Vitality. 13-11. Against a team that has major expectations, major playoff expectations. And that's a very good result for M80. Our prediction, though, at least mine, for this map and matchup, really, M80, I gotta go with them. I don't think there's any way I could fathom lag having a favored odds. There's a chance it can steal away something, but you have to favor M80 coming into this.
You have to favor M80 going into this, and I think our idea coming into these kind of matchups, yesterday's and today's alike, is what can lag, and of course Fluffy Aimers yesterday, do against the juggernauts that is M80. This is going to be their hardest, most difficult match of the season, I think, by far, and it is not going to be close in terms of who else they're going to have to face. And that's a good litmus test for them. How are they going to act in the face of adversity? Do they have a deep strat book? Do they have a lot of backups and things that they can change going into different rounds to try and counter what M80 are doing? Because M80 are going to be the juggernauts of the season, not only in this matchup, but across the board.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they drop a map here or there, particularly to NRG or Nouns or Party Astronauts or Wildcard. But M80 should have a pretty smooth run into the playoffs here. Our player to watch for the first map, the first best of one, is going to be Nick X. I kind of hinted at that a little bit overall in the matchup introduction, but I think he is a very solid North American rifler with a lot of potential, plays a smart game, and does not overextend himself. He doesn't put himself in a position where he's usually untradeable or it's a low percentage duel. very disciplined, very good signs for a younger player in the region. And so that's why he's our player to watch.
Yeah, it makes sense. Again, want to highlight these new-ish talents coming to the scene on the cusp of making these solid forays into playoffs. Nick X is the ideal candidate, I would say, for highlighting in this matchup. 1.27 impact, 72.9 cast, 1.14 HLTV rating. His ADR is second only to Lake in the server. He has an 80.7 ADR, so he should be potentially a spear point for this team of Lag as we head into this first best of one of the evening. As we mentioned, it's on the 51st floor of Vertigo, and the match is live. M80, the defense to start things off. Lag on the tee, 2 sets of utility, and a P250 for OG Wizard over for Lag. USPs with a kit flash for Sin on the defense. Slack spotting side hall, gets the information early. Lag don't necessarily commit, though. They wait and hope that M80 go for a second excursion for information.
M80 instead, trusting in their aim, will actually draw everybody over. They have a flank coming in through B. Swisher and Rec all the way in the back lines too. This is why M80's rotation is so confident. They are ready to rebuke this. Swisher actually strikes from behind, and a flash from Sin goes high. Rec slacks Lake, and Swisher mop it all up from behind and in front. It's a sandwich. M80 the bread, Lag the delicious stuffing in the middle. And that is a flawless and succinct pistol round from M80. Showcasing dominance in the opening round.
Had a neat little bow on it as well. Not a single player falling. For M80, I should say. Round over in the blink of an eye once actual contact was taken following that first engagement. Very quick, as you mentioned, for M80. Lag now on just a couple pistols. Only one being upgraded. That's for Nyx, not Nick X. It's the Deagle. To really focus on the enunciation for these two players' names, given how close they are. M80, though, with rifles on 4, looking to make this a very potent bonus going forward as well. First secured, Nick X tagged quite low as well. The MP9 of Sin now is given free reign to pressure for some extra cash. He has the bomb at his feet as well. That will stop his aggression. He'll just wait on that for the time being. Swisher all the way back on B, should have that kill rather easily. Nyx only had a Glock, if I'm not mistaken. Sin doubling down, double dipping. Bottom ramp finds a second, leaving just Weeza. The Glock, as I mentioned, these pistols are going to struggle no matter what. Probably should not be finding a kill here, unless something critical goes wrong. And I'm right, Sin tripling down with that MP9, harvesting cash early, and M80 yet to drop a player in this matchup.
Yeah, that's a great start for M80. In fact, it's impossible to have a better statistical start for M80. So they are doing quite well into round number 3. Now, I think their flawless is probably going to end here at some point in time. Only the MP9 on Sin remains as the SMG. Rec on a FAMAS, everybody else on A1Ss. Kits on 3, also good to note. And some A ramp control for Lag as they begin to work their way on through. Good amount of smokes down across this ramp area. And a little bit of utility being used by M80 as well. Flash is well timed as the smoke was popped open by the nade. But nothing seen, no damage dealt to either side just yet, despite the early... Oh, there's 1 point to Swisher. I'm not going to count that. I'm not counting that.
No, that's negligible. And a double swing at ramp delayed. Slacks. Trades for his teammate. Lake goes down, as does Nick X, who's had a difficult start. OG Wizard, as you mentioned, the second player in command on the board. Proficient with the AK. M80 quick to move to their next setup. It's a boost up over the wall, looking ramp. M80. So many different looks within even the same round. Really makes it so Lag can take nothing for granted.
Will they expect the boost here? That's a good question. They seem to be prepared for it. It's all down to timing where... Oh, Sin's actually comes in and forces the boost to dismantle as the push comes up for ramp. 1-for-1 trades again. Trades the name of the game for M80, as you said in the pre-show. Slacks behind triple, looking to hold. Swings out wide. Good supportive flash from Swisher. As the bomb crosses to sight, Experative wins that fight. Trades again, going back and forth. Bomb plant in the open. Rec denies it. Now a 1v1. Swisher watches his bullets, tracer fire flies around him, moving in through elevator. This position, nobody peeks at the right time, playing with that clock as his ally. Knows it's in the red, OG Wizard has to stick. And so, Swish will clutch it up. Relatively easy clutch for him as well. And M80 up 3-0 on their map pick of Vertigo. I mean, both maps are their pick, technically, but that's besides the point. What is a good point, though, Nate? A 60% win rate on the CT side for the M80 squad.
I feel like in these kinds of matchups, it's almost just an M80-sided map. As critical as that is to say.
Pretty much it is.
Because again, it's all about, as we said yesterday, it's all about expectations. What are these teams trying to get out of this? Lag are trying to get a good game where they can show some solid fundamentals, where they can find what works at the highest level that they can reasonably play currently. And so they're calling a hack timeout relatively early. They're on the cusp of being able to buy because of that bomb plant, so they might actually go for it, or they might half buy. It's a Crossroads, good timeout used early. M80, as I mentioned, trading is the name of the game. It goes on to a 1v1 clutch, but a clutch rather handedly won by Swisher. That cross, very timely, very well played. Well, the spray left an opportunity for OG Wizard. It was not an opportunity that could be exploited reasonably. M80 3-0 lag. A half buy with one hero rifle on OG Wizard. I like the call. Lake needs to be very careful. He's up ramp, the Tech 9 close, and the flashes are suffocating. Sin and Lake, though, find two for the price of one. And Sin sticking around for more, spraying away another before finally being traded. And that Tech 9 at range does so much damage. Wreck 1 for 1. But M80 already had the advantage. That leaves OG Wizard, that hero rifle, with 1 to his name and a 1v2. Bomb is on his back, but no utility and no information as to where these players are makes it difficult. Might have heard the scope in towards elevator. Given how long he's taken on this silent rotation, needs to check every angle studiously. Shouldering here and there. Again, probably knows at this point that the op is in play. Slowly pressure towards B. M80. So they've split up. They aren't going to defend the site together and retake. Instead, it's going to be Swisher on fast rotation. Towards middle. Doesn't hear the bomb plant. Slax is going to flank with the op as well, Box.
I like the flank idea. I'm not sure I like it with the op. It's going to be a bit of an awkward duel depending on timing, but at least it gives Swisher some sort of consolidation that he knows where his teammate's coming from. That's going to allow Swisher to drop down a generator, but it's going to come down to the fights now. The nade from Swisher out and does nothing to OG Wizard. He knows where he is. He has the kit. He has some time to work with. OG Wizard dances around, though, swings out just wide enough to throw the crosshairs slightly off. And so OG Wizard pulls a little magic out of his hat and gets a lag their first round on the board off of the back of the timeout. But it took a 1-versus-2 clutch. That is not a round you can rely on to win if you are Life is a Game. They need to have something a little more consistent, a little more composed. But the buy from M80 will be a bit broken this time. A deagle for Slacks instead of the op. An MP9 for Wreck instead of the M4. M4 is on the ladder threes. Lake Swisher and Sin. An okay amount of utility, but the lack of Molotovs really will help them for stalls. The lack of smokes and flashes for retakes. The lack of a kit. The most glaring issue of it all. It's going to come down to stopping the plant for the CT side.
Yes, it is. And as you mentioned, while that round isn't consistent, given the clutch, I like that they set up their star OG Wizard for success and let him seize that opportunity. You can't rely on rounds like that, but setting up your star to do something like that, to have an opportunity to find success like that, is a key factor at least maximizing your odds. Lag smoked away from ramp will fall back. They can be happy knowing that they've taken a good amount of utility away from M80. Because as you mentioned, the economy has been set askew from the loss against the half buy. Swisher spamming away towards B. Just under a minute left in the round, and Lag are rotating in for a site take here. Slacks getting the right read of the situation, is rotating around, but he only has a deagle to support Swisher. That's going to make this hold difficult.
Ooh, that spray needs to do damage. It does nothing at all, so Swisher down for the count without a single digit of damage on the board. Lots of utility raining through, clearing out most of the side, allowing this plant to come through. Slacks will try to aggress, runs into the off of OG Wizard. Rex MP9 actually finds a second onto Weeza around that smoke on retreat. The M4 does damage to OG Wizard and takes him down as Sin into the 1 versus 2, sideswiped by Nyx, who charges forward to take down the last remaining players of M80. Now their economy is broken. Lag 2 in a row. That almost went horribly wrong for the lag side. They stabilize it in the end. A good little aggressive play by Nyx. The Op recovered as well. Good for the T economy, which I guess doesn't necessarily need extra help. The Mac 10 for Experative to farm up some extra money. We should see a tie 3-3 score line into round number 7.
More than likely, barring something disastrous for lag. USPs across the board with 1 pop flash from Sin. Probably going to be thrown towards ramp. If I had to guess, the question is when. Probably after contact. Experative finds 1. Flash thrown in response, but Experative dodges it, and he has that Mac 10 to harvest. The spray, though, belabored. Slacks will find him, and OG Wizard, despite getting the trade, is dinked down. USP of Swisher, not nearly the same success in middle, caught in rotation. E-site falls. Lake, with that Mac 10 in hand, is caught once again by OG Wizard, who's popping off early. By far front runner for lag. Sin the last live with only a USP, just holding in hopes that someone gets over eager and overzealous. Now spotted, not long for the world. Nyx does him in. 3-3, tied ball game as he mentioned, and just an aside, it looks like we have casters cursed Nick X.
It happens too often, I feel like, when we do our player to watch.
I mean,
yesterday we got lucky with Lake on the first best of one, but the second one he kind of just sat back as Rec took over the server. But it does seem to be, our player to watch. Let's go with 60. The one map in ECL he doesn't dominate.
Doesn't get a 2.0 KD?
Yeah. Just one of those things, you know? I feel like the last time we picked OG Wizard, Nick X took over.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Do you recall that?
So
M80's buy is still really hamstrung. 2 Famosas with utility, an Op, and 2 M4s, but Sin has next to nothing on his belt, only a smoke, and Rec has actually nothing. The kit is at least here, but M80 not doing themselves any favors against the full buys of lag.
yeah, that aggressive peak might actually yield something as the nade sails on through. Only 4 damage onto Experative. Rec's attack yields nothing much either, as he's down to 3 HP. Might honestly want to swap that M4 for the FAMAS Swisher. The Swisher's not in much better shape, 32 HP, so he can tank 2 shots versus 1. Not very strong holding right now from M80 on the gun rounds. Lag are actually controlling this quite well. I do like their aggressiveness of the timeout earlier to stall the momentum and allow Lag some time to compose themselves, but they're going pound for pound right now, and there's the offer caught by Nick X, as Slacks does not contemplate a late push towards that little scaffolding peak. Swisher 2 for 1 as his teammate falls, but now he meets the same fate. Up with utility in hand, Nick X has been caught. So his double entry now down as the in-game leader for M80 scales forward, and it's all up to him versus the op of OG Wizard. It is his staff. Can Sin break it? He does! Headshot delivered. And M80, a narrow victory. Op will be recovered for Slacks. Their name M80 limp to another round of the board. And their money severely damaged again. Despite winning, their buy will be worse now. And Lag, they still have plenty of cash here, although Experative is down to 900 without an AK in hand. There's one on the ground for him. OG Wizard foregoing the op as well in favor of AK utility. That's the team player we know from OG Wizard and his versatility coming into play. But it's a reset round for both sides, and a decent amount of this half can hang upon the round balance.
Yes, again, that staff broken, but not before a slide of 3 for M80. Flash straight in towards B. Lag going for a very quick change of pace. It could pay off in a big way. Weeza 1, OG Wizard the 2nd. He's having a tremendous performance, despite being on low HP now. M80 with a kit and a little bit of utility in a 3 versus 5 with lackluster weaponry, specifically on Lake. Already cutting ties at the round. It's an unfortunate decision you have to make, but it's a decision that's well thought out. 4-4. Lag isolating that victory from M80 on an island. Very good clap back from them on this T side. Will they hunt these weapons down? I don't think so. They want to rebuild that T economy they had before. It's a battle of the individuals, though, right now. It's OG Wizard versus Sin for the two respective teams. Those are the front runners. OG Wizard, though, very solid opening in that round specifically.
Another strong opening for him. Another strong round from him. But something about this M80 B-side hold is not working. It's a bit of a sieve right now, Nate.
Yes, it is.
And they need to fix it.
Just beginning to mount, as you mentioned, 60% win rate on the CT side.
Yeah, and Flag only 42.7 on the T side.
Swisher again getting caught early at B. Sin this time is the second to fall, not Wreck. He was towards the middle with that 5-7.
Yeah, guns have to save here. That little rifle over extension gets punished, and so just the op and the M4 will be brought into the next round by M80 if they can even keep those two in hand. Already on the hunt is Experative. Nyx is joining the party. Nick X as well, but up through CT. There's a shout out for Lake. He spots that. Slack's only one. He gets traded out by Weeza. So that op now no longer in hand. Flash goes in. Weeza taken down by Lake. He wants to recover the op. He'll have an AK for now. As Lag's hunt is yielding one, but the op back in the hands of M80. As Lake will run for the hills. Tuck into the corner. He should be good to save here. But a lead for Lag as we get into the tail end of this half. Slow and steady. Wins the race. And despite the pistol and the second two, M80 only won with an even buy. The CT
do they
side.
stack B now? That's the question. Do they stack B?
Or do they play retake B?
Two alternatives, or two options, I should say. Maybe someone playing back sight behind the girder is a good idea. It's 2B again early. Wreck and Swisher. This time, though, Swisher being aggressive, the opposite of playing retake. They're going to get control of the stairs, and I don't hate this. They seem to be scrupulous.
Yeah, I like the one too.
First bit of contact, though, they fall back. No early fights being given. Swisher still playing close, though, and that is worrying. There's a third player here. There was support from Sin, at least for a brief moment. Swisher finally finds the opening and buys more time by getting away. Looks to be a solid hold and adjustment from M80, at least in the early goings of this take. Lag are committing through the smoke. Nyx finds one, and Swisher, not expecting that swing, is caught as well. Sin, a single in response, and Lake has rotated early. He's here in time, finding another through the smoke as it blooms. OG Wizard and Experative, those two foreign imports as we talked about in the 2v3, and they have not put the bomb down yet either. The utility from M80 buys so much time. Cover of the smokes expires. OG Wizard will finally get an opportunity to plant. No, it's ripped from him. Sin finds them both for a total of 3 in the round. The IGL putting up numbers. M80 again tie things up, but they need 2 in a row to stabilize this CT economy.
And, well, 2 in a row would also end the half with a lead.
I guess so. Well, no, 2 in a row. So
First
they just got, and the second. So technically, it's basically the end, right?
Yeah.
But 2 in a row would, if they lose this one.
Yeah, they would also
They're considered
reset
bad.
Lag, so there's that going for him as well. Experative only has a Glock. Okay, there's an AK. OG Wizard has no utility with that op. That's something to keep an eye on. He's been very good getting entries and holding down the line. Maybe an opper's duel against Slacks coming up. What a shot by Slacks, just over the top of the smoke. OG Wizard jumps up. The second he spots Slacks, he's already removed. That's a big duel won by the German op of M80. Swisher gets a dink, but he gets a dink right back, and the AK wins that duel every time. Spray from Wreck, only good for 1, and he takes out the damaged player too. The nade from Sin will finish off Nyx. There's still 2 alive for Life's the Game, Experative, and Nick X. 4 and 8, both players. Then over top of that, smoke sprays down one. Nick X from under knows where the player is and gets the trade into the 1 versus 2 now. Be a 1 versus 3 clutch overall for Nick X. But essentially a 1 versus 2, as that was a 2v3 duel he took onto Sin.
Quick rotate.
I like this read.
Gives him the best opportunity for sure. Lake and Slacks are both posted up on window. They have not moved a muscle since they got set up. Plant comes in. They'll know here immediately. Nick X wants to cut them off at elevator, though. Slacks realizes it's a possibility. They're both walking. Timing's everything on this peak. I says the first, not the second. Lake is ready with the trades, and again, that is the name of the game for M80. Get trades, make them quick. Their spacing and their awareness are near perfect, and in that clutch, it's no different. 6-5, opportunity for them to get a 7th. Lag will have to fight to tie this first half. M80 should have no problem investing in this final. Lag, though. They'll make it scrappy. They'll put together what they can. Thanks to that bomb plant, they'll have a little bit of extra cash injected in, but it's still Galil's across the board with a Mac 10 on Experative. Far from ideal for them.
Very far from ideal from them. But they can still make it work. I mean, no helmet on rec. The Galil's essentially an M4 for $800, or 1800, excuse me, that you can get on the T side. It's a little more unruly, it's a little more inaccurate, but it gets the job done regardless. Swisher's going to push on down, though, pretty deep. He's going to get the sound cues as well, these two players moving up through middle. Looks to be the split on towards the B site. 2 through mid, 3 through the stairs, and Sin and Rec deal with the 2 in middle very efficiently. More damage coming through. Rec's got another. Sin on top of the double stack is caught out, but Swisher's right there for the trade. M80 will stabilize into a 7-5 half.
M80 reassert their lead at the end of the first half, but still a contentious map, all things considered. It's Pineapple Phelps and Boggs on the mic. Lag on the defense now of Vertigo. Double dually super soldiers for Experative and OG Wizard. No kit in play. Early lean towards B. The fake setup towards A for M80. A little bit involved, but still, I think a very solid setup, all things considered. 4, is that 5? All 5 from lag over towards A as well. Means that this M80 take towards B should be swift and simple. I see that. Doubling back. What's going on? A smoke on B. Everybody seems to be thrown for a loop.
I think. Oh, that almost works for Lake. Does he expect close? He does not. And he somehow gets damage out of that too. Enough damage for a kill, but not onto the same player. Unlucky for Lake, as B is taken over quickly by M80. Smoke down, allowing Rec to gather a bit of information and take a more aggressive angle around it. Spots the gun of one on drop. OG Wizard and Experative of the double. Dual Berettas yielding 3 kills. Now Weeza chimes in. Slacks in the 1 versus 5. 2, 3. Can he grab the 4th? He got a gift as they lined up for him. One by one, the ants came marching in as Slacks will dive around the corner. Back to the Glock, but OG Wizard runs him down. No kit, not a problem. Enough time for the CT side. The CT pistol converted by lag, but 3 kills plus bomb plant equals 4 spy. And Slacks will have himself a very strong one, given that performance that got him those 3 kills at the end.
35-50 in the bank. You could go for Kevlar and an AK if you really wanted to. Probably full armor and a Galil instead. Nope, it's that Kevlar and AK that I mentioned. I like the aggression. We'll see if it comes to bite him. He'll be a one-shot headshot to the M4s, and if he gets dinged by an MP9, he can kiss his life goodbye. So he needs to play it wisely, or at least in a spot where it can be recovered by Rec and Sin. Lag going for a similar buy to their opponents in the last half. 3 rifles, 2 MP9s instead of the 4 and 1. It's a solid buy, all things considered as well. Lots of emphasis put on ramp by both teams early on. Slower start for M80 once more on this T side. They're doing well to control the pacing of the second half.
Yeah, they're doing well to control the pacing. They don't look scared. Just play the game, follow the plan. Go from there. That's a nice nade on to the lag boys as M80 try to get up ramp. Slacks will open things up with that AK in hand. And look to scale up for more. Rec in the meantime, starting to get a little bit more aggressive out middle. Swisher's Tech 9 peeking up towards B. Nix kind of has an angle on both, but he's very passive for an B hold and for a mid play. Out towards Generator, he peeks and he falls as Swisher's Tech 9 will sing for 1. OG Wizard down to half HP as well. Keep that in mind as he charges forward. The spray from Lake, actually, he takes the damage. So OG Wizard might just try to save the M4. That might be the call. Weeza gets caught by Rec moving forward through middle, and he has a chance for more middle. Never mind as Nix gets around the corner. We'll grab that A1S, attempt to save with OG Wizard. So the bomb will go off. M80 will win the force, maintain their lead, and put lag in an awkward spot where they'll probably force buy around the M4s. But if they lose the round, it sets M80 up to get very close to double digits, if not gain that all but for free.
Sin's hunting.
I like the hunt a lot.
So do I, especially from a player with a Deagle. Actually, it's Swisher hunting with an MP9, or is he? It's towards middle. It's hard to tell with the map sometimes, given that it's 2 stories. Tactical timeout used by lag. Good idea. As you mentioned, probably going to half buy or force buy. It's going to look like a half buy because of how bad the economy is. M80 should kick it into high gear, get some AKs, maybe another SMG if they really want it, but not all too likely. M80, as you mentioned, looking to extend their lead to 3 and potentially 4 off the back of this if lag invest. Pretty important implications that lag need to talk through.
And it looks like they're going to go all in here. Deagle armor for Weeza, 5/7 armor utility for Nyx, MP9 utility and armor for Experative. Still have the kits of OG Wizard and Nick X too, so retake is viable. Weeza starts out though, eating 23 damage on nades, as M80 will work their way around the map. Their default, again, very methodical, like they're clearing off a checklist, Nate. Very efficient. That boost from OG Wizard, though, spotted by Sin. That will make the chances for lag much worse as that M4 traded into the hands of Experative. Still not the best case scenario to be down your top fragger in the server right now. Great shot by Weeza on the Lake, who's had a bit of a unfortunate performance. He's been a little unlucky in a lot of situations. There's the trade right back from Slacks. And M80 are going to rotate this off to B, too. They're just going to go for this early Probe A, get a couple of kills, and play off of that elsewhere. I like this call. Shows a lot of confidence and a lot of fluidity mentally and, of course, in the strat book. Also, look at Rex position. All the way in CT spawn. Expects Nyx coming through. Cannot quite get Experative. Is in the middle of the open. Swisher, though, drive by MP9. 3 left. 1v3 for Experative on 40 HP. Probably just going to try and save again.
Probably, especially given that HP. Will he be allowed to is a good question. Probably will be, because M80 only have 3 alive and 2 of them are tagged.
Also, the money is not really worth hunting for Sin, who has H. Oh, Switcher's going for it.
Got the information. He needs to be careful. I think he was more so getting away from the bomb early, given his low HP. And given that info, yeah, he just cuts back towards A, not taking that duel. Keeping 3 alive, building that T side economy slowly yet surely, with the trio surviving. 9-6. And because of this loss, Lagger likely on a save. That means 10-6 is likely to follow.
Unless Experative can pull off something crazy with the M4, it most likely will be a 10-6 scoreline. And the T-side economy beginning to grow a little bit as well. Slacks at 4,400, Sin at 2,800, Swisher 2,450. Money's starting to look good. Always easier to grow on the T-side. A bit too easy, you might say. The M4 is going to get boosted up for this angle. There's 3 players here on B, 2 in middle. M80 putting a little bit of pressure here. But as we saw last round, if they can get mid control, they'll probably just back off anyways. It's a perfect counter to the boost as well. That nade's going to finish off Nyx, who picked up the M4. That Swisher dropped from Experative. That's 2 free kills. I know OG Wizard's here as well. And yeah, M80 know exactly what's up. It's a stack. Hit the road, Jack, and go the other way. Wreck will clear out Weeza, though. Does take a lot of damage, but quick on the draw. Good little flick over there. Swisher gets double domed, and the bomb still not quite in M80's control. Now it is. And that should cement the round. But these 2 guns could get saved over by lag and bolster their buy into the next round, particularly in the utility and kit phases.
Definitely could. So a lot of saves at the end of rounds, but it makes sense for lag. They haven't really been hunted yet. I feel like this round might be an ideal one for M80 to look for. 10-6. Window of opportunity closing for lag. What we've seen from them is quite good thus far. Again, as you mentioned, it's that efficiency from M80, specifically on the T side. I would expect nothing less from a German IGL. Very quick. Very clean. No frills. Checking off the boxes, as you mentioned, although more inspired than just going through a checklist. Style really fits them. Oh my goodness. Lake chucking a nade at B stairs. Last tick kills Nick X, who was jumping to try and survive. Quite the cherry on top for what was a victorious round.
That is a brilliant end to the round for M80. Forces significant reinvestment out of Nick X and severely weakens the utility that Lag can buy. Only the kits on Nick X and OG Wizard. Only OG Wizard really has a full belt of utility. The CTs only have one incendiary as well. Swisher, though, not going to expect somebody all the way behind. Weeza could have waited that out and gotten so much more. There's no way he gets cleared. Instead, he goes 1 for 1. Maybe a little bit of panic setting in for Lag as they can see the writing on the wall beginning to appear. Nick X mollied forward. Lake will take him down in combination with Flash from Rek. Man advantage now established for M80. 1:10 to go on the clock. Lots of time still to work with. And does Nyx get Sin here? Yes, so much damage. Not yet the kill, and loses the duel. OG Wizard falls in the meantime, but that duel between Sin and Nyx, again, maybe just a little bit longer on the trigger discipline for the Lag players, and they find themselves the round victory instead of defeat with 4 alive from M80.
This is really unlucky timing. He hits the headshots through the box and not over the top. He saw the tip of his head. Just couldn't quite get that lucky first bullet. A little bit too quick, as you mentioned. Only slightly so. I do get Weeza pulling the trigger early as well. He thinks it's a lurk, and also a player could be going up the stairs above him and spot the barrel from above. So, difficult decisions, but they make sense in the moment. M80 11-6, as you mentioned, and a half buy from Lag on the board. OG Wizard Hero M4. They almost like they have to win this round. Coming back from a 6-12 doesn't leave a window or a room for error. I feel like you need that given the score disparity.
I agree. And the thing is, too, they're not even fully invested into this round. It's half. M4 for OG Wizard. MP9s on Nyx and Weeza. Deagle for Nick X. Experative on a 5-7. It's a very interesting half buy with a full investment on 1.
It's 2400 in the
round.
Just to drop it right. And trying to set up their hero for success, I suppose. Give them an opportunity.
But it's a hero MP9?
It's hero M4 for OG Wizard. I think they swapped guns. Let's see if it pays off. Nyx close up with an MP9. A Sin to contend with around the corner, and Sin has had a heater of a map. There's the hero rifle chiming in. Finds one. He can take some damage, but still, OG Wizard endures. Nyx dancing at B. The range makes that MP9 all the more difficult to wield, but he will survive and call for rotation. Bomb will hit dirt. The Lag do have a man advantage going into this retake. The question is, can they find the kills early? Swisher denies the first foray. Boost over for the M4, finds nothing either. Nick X gets tagged. Players slowly being pulled apart here for Lag. Slaying from Weeza could do something. No, Rek's already watching it. Rek has that player dead to rights. Nick X swinging out. The Deagle has no success. OG Wizard, similar story. Experative finds one. Falls thereafter. M80 have a map point. And a lot of room to work with going forward.
So much wiggle room for M80. OG Wizard with an op in this round. Nyx back on an MP9. Weeza and Nick X join the A1S club, and Experative will be the latest member added. But it is do or die time for Life's a Game right now. They have to win to stay alive, and they need 6 rounds in a row to bring us to overtime. Meanwhile, M80 just need 1 more on the board. And the first best of 1 is theirs, and OG Wizard's op is already down for the count. Slacks has won that Opper's duel consistently. He has looked very good, very on point in this one, but nothing compares to Sin's rifle. 20-9 right now. As M80 slow down off of the back of that pick, take their time to work up ramp. Nyx will pick up, or Nick X rather, will pick up the op. Utility coming through for the take. Do they expect the op back in hand? Splits the goalposts regardless, eats half of his HP in damage, and Sin will spray him down. Goes back for 2, Rek will trade. Swisher lurking out in middle, has Weeza dead to rights, and Nyx is the last man standing again with the MP9 over towards Elevator. But I think this Elevator is going to bring him down, Nate. And unlike Prince, it's not going to be crazy for him. See what he can do. There's a flank on each side. And he's boxed in by Lake. 13-6 for M80. A bit of a struggle on that first half, but once things kicked over onto their T side, they took full control.
Yeah, M80, a different beast on that T side. Lag looked competitive in their first half. They still looked competent in the second as well, but it does feel like a bit of a difference when it comes to sheer depth of the team play from M80. Again, trading out redundancy on redundancy, as you mentioned, peak efficiency and clearing. And once they get that freight train rolling, there is no slowing it down, especially not on the T side.
No, there's not. It was impossible for Lag to slow down that rumble of M80 as they stormed on through like a herd of bison. There was no stopping it. And all they did was try to weather the storm, try to stay alive, and the Opper's duel going the way of Slacks consistently did not help Lag's chances. OG Wizard had a brilliant map, but he was outclassed by the Op of Slacks, and the Rifle of Sin was absolutely insane. Our player to watch was Nick X, and as we mentioned earlier, it feels like we did a bit of a caster's curse for him, as it was not the best map for Nick X. Had a couple of moments here. Let's see those stats as they'll appear on screen momentarily. 60.89 ADR, 9 and 14 with 4 assists. But yeah, it was a brutal map overall for literally everybody but OG Wizard.
Yeah, very brutal map for everybody on Lag, barring OG Wizard, as you mentioned, but it's kind of what we expected. They still showed us good team play, good spacing, good trading. They had a good couple rounds. They got close to the victory, but just could not get across the line. And that's just the reality you have to face when you're going up against like a juggernaut like M80.
It's indeed, but there's still one more best of one between M80 and Life's a Game, and we're going to get into that on the other side of this break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back here in a second.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are returning from our break following the first best of one between M80 and Lag. Of course, that was on Vertigo, and it was a bit of a stomp in the end, 13-6 for M80. I'm Pineapple Phillips. He's Boggs. Boggs, walk us through what you thought from that last map.
Well, it started off pretty good for Lag. They got a lead at 5-3, but M80 clawed it back. It took over 5-4, excuse me. M80 clawed it back and never looked back, despite losing that second half pistol. 7-6 was as close as Lag got from that point on, and M80 just dominated the Life's a Game squad on that T side. And while it seemed kind of like a bit of a skill difference between Life's a Game and M80 when it came down to it in the end.
I'm having some technical issues with Boggs. I can't hear anything that he is saying, but we're going to get into the veto. I'm hoping he's still coming through on stream. There was some connection issues there, but here is the second set of vetoes, ladies and gentlemen. Vertigo, of course, taken out by default, seeing as it was the first best of one of the evening. Nuke taken out by M80, followed by Dust 2. Makes sense, same bans as last time. Inferno and Anubis, the follow-ups from Lag, and given the choice between Mirage and Ancient, M80 went for Ancient. So we'll see if that is going to come through or what is going to come through. Of course, we saw this map yesterday versus the likes of Fluffy Aimers, and it was a bit of a one-sided, or no, it wasn't a one-sided affair. It was overtime. The question is, does Lag have the ability to take it the distance like Fluffy Aimers?
Or have M80 also dusted off the rust from their jaunt over into Europe? Maybe some jet lag. They're back in domestic competition. It's always a bit of a different playing field when you're over playing against the likes of FaZe, the likes of Vitality. And then you come back home and you're playing in your classic domestic leagues. There is always a bit of a jump when you go over and when you come back. M80 looked to have settled in both on the last best of one against Fluffy Aimers last night, and then here on the first one versus Life's a Game as well. Can they do it again on Ancient? Can they mop the floor with their opposition, or is this one going to get a little closer? We'll find out as we hop into the game here. Ancient, the Verdant map, is where we lay our scene. And we'll see who won the knife round, who starts on that CT side, or vice versa. And it is M80 on the CT side here, Lag on the T side. M80 seemed to really start on the CT side very often. In fact, I think last night they also started on the CT side every single half. I'll verify that. Yeah, it was CT for M80 now 4 halves in a row. In the 4 best of ones, we've covered them this week. So, a little interesting tidbit there. They're really good in the knife round.
Theoretically, good spot from Slacks early on over top of the box. Nyx dinked it down, but the race will come in, and it's actually experimented to open it up with 2 on the Slacks and Sin instead. Swisher and Cave spotted as well with the dualies in hand, spamming away. He can't quite get the kill on the bomb planter. Now things get awkward. 3 versus 5. Rek and Lake both approaching from CT spawn, trying to get forward as best they can. Short, Lake racing forward, good on 1, but can't tap the second. OG Wizard drops Swisher, and Nick X blindsides Rek. Lag a quick first round with the pistol victory, and some dualies picked up for their troubles. Good start for them, coming off a difficult first map.
A very difficult first map for Lag, but another pistol round converted. That's back-to-back pistols for them. They will have to contend with the M80 Spy. This time, though, it is not going to have Galils and Tech 9s. It's MP9s on 2, a 5.7 on a pair, and a Deagle for Slacks, a minimal amount of utility, 4 smokes, 2 nades, and a flashbang for the CT side as well. No defuse kit, so if the bomb does go down, chances are a defuse will not be viable. No over-aggression from M80. They do have Rek pushed very deep into A main, but he's not over-peeking, he's not overextending. It's a very disciplined pistol hold, well, weaker buy hold, force buy hold from the CTs.
So they're getting control at the extremities where it's closer range. As you mentioned, Rek in A main, that's very close at hand. Slacks also playing outside of Donut, spotting with his Deagle. Lake got, I believe, Molly down on B, if I'm not mistaken. He's at 28, unfortunate there. Bulk of M80, though, still on this B site. Sin smoking towards Jaguar as we cross that minute mark. Lag still looking to go towards B. There are 3 towards long, 2 outside of Cave. They boost up for Nick X on the rifle.
There, the boost pays dividends for Nick X, picking up the pace where he left off. As Lag will begin to train into the side here. Lake around long, mid-range with the MP9, does a lot of damage, yet to find the kill. He'll fall to the very same. Sin with 1, carrying over his fine form. A good read to watch his Cave side as well. So OG Wizard was in Jaguar, but he's waiting for the peak, and punched it. So Slacks now for 1 versus 4 to stay alive, does damage. Both players do a lot of damage. Slacks will slink away potentially. Nope, caught by Experative out in mid. And so Lag up 2, should be up 3 before the guns come out for M80.
Yes, they should. Gonna be a save from the USPs, maybe a flash. Maybe an upgrade for pistol for Slacks if he really wants one, but he's probably saving for the op. That would make far more sense. 2 Mac 10s to harvest the cash for Lag on Experative and Nyx. Like to play. And there is 3 upgraded pistols. Counting is hard. 4 upgraded pistols. Okay, they're just gonna mess with me a bit more. 2 5.7s for Lake and Rek. P250 for Swisher. Deagle for Sin. tries to make that weapon sing, hoping to have a performance much like he did on the first map. But again, that's not really replicable, especially not for your IGL. Experative lurking out of B, blinds Swisher. The second is spotted in cave and falls in a very similar vein. If he didn't fall there, he would have been caught in the back by Nyx. Good control taken towards B. Damage done to Experative as the smoke blooms, but no kills to be spoken of as of yet for M80. This round should go off without a hitch at this stage. Maybe 1 for 5-7s. And the one I didn't expect to find a kill is the USP, which pushes middle and gets a double dink on one. 5-7 of Rex surprises Experative as well, but Lake does not have the same luck with his own weapon. A good dink, some more good damage. The reload allows Nyx to escape, and Nick X is ready to support. 3-0 start, as you mentioned, solid for lag. They do lose 2 in round number 3.
A little more expensive than they would have liked against the minimal investment of M80 there, but all things considered, it's overall a good start for lag. They should not be too upset about that. And they'll have the Glil out for Nyx as well, given the fact there's only... Okay, there's 3 helmets now. Sin will pick one up late. But still 2 players unhelmed, which means the Glil is that one-shot headshot machine, potentially. Sin takes a little bit of nade damage right now, but nobody on M80 really stepping up yet in the fragging department. This is the time to turn the tide and get into the round column early before lag can grow out to a very solid start on this T side. It's their weaker side on Ancient too, 45.5% when it comes to the yellow. Lake does spot one crossing. That was the bomb, too. That's a lot of information. He'll swing well with a flash from Swisher and open things up unpunished onto Nick X. So a good start there from Lake. He'll try to spray for more. Nades going in. Experative eats that for 24. And no real entry yet for lag as the smoke walls off the B ramp. And Swisher looks ready to spray them all down as the utility is running dry for the CT side.
Yes, it is. They paced it out in line with their aggressive posturing, hoping to find more than just one to start this off. Lag now entering in towards B. They don't smoke long. Oh, actually, they don't smoke short. Lake X is the one, or Lake is the one to find the first. Second for Swisher towards long now, as again, these angles aren't smoked off. They were relying on having control of long and smoking off CT. That is a disastrous assumption to make, I should say. And M80 win the round off the back of it on the board. The first rifle round. Relatively clean as well. Some AK upgrades in the hands now. Lag, another investment, but OG Wizards on a Mac 10. That's less than ideal. There's not much money left in the bank either.
No, and despite the early lead, the flourishing economy, it's quickly evaporating for Life's a Game, and it's becoming a little bit of a difficulty adjustment for them as they'll try to run on through to B quickly through fire before the utility really starts to take effect. Good smoke into cave. Sin takes a lot of damage, but Swisher only good for one. If he got the second, that would have been huge, but only getting one is not great. Link gets killed from behind by Weeza, and spam from cave by Sin does not do enough to yield a kill and bring this back to a more level 3 versus 3. The rotations from Rek and Slacks are coming through. Rek clearing in. That's a great flashbang from Nyx, but Slacks has the trade. However, it's a save call by M80. The op must live again, and Sin's AK as well should survive. Lag will isolate the round for M80, and that's never a good sign for the CT side.
It's not, but they have enough money to invest in the following, I think. They're going to have to make some concessions, probably an MP not on 1 or 2. Slacks can drop a rifle. Lake might be able to eke by with one given the 2150 in the bank. It's going to be close. But a start much like last map, where M80 kind of gets isolated once they get back on the column. Sure, they won the pistol round last time, so they got 3. But then it was 3 in a row from lag, and 1 round isolated back to 4-piece. Before M80 could kick it into gear. Wise coming through. Rek is on a FAMAS. Dropped over. She's M4 now. Nope, it is a FAMAS. Okay. Dropped the rifle over to Swisher, if I'm not mistaken. Still a solid buy. Kit on the board. Only 1. Lag changing the pace. Changing the direction. This time going towards A early. Slacks will hear this. The question is, can he stop it? Good start. Support is here. Molotov forces them to think things through, and Rek will catch one pushing through it. Looking good for M80 on the early hold.
More utility going to come through from the T side, or they're just going to try double boost up here. That's been spotted, and the first has already been removed. Blake still knows Nyx is, or rather, OG Wizard's up top. Experative with a molly kill onto Lake, though, who could not escape, leaving it all down to OG Wizard. Sins and Donut, Swisher from CT. Sin not yet revealed. And a lot of time left for OG Wizard to operate. However, his health is not fantastic. His utility is sorely lacking. And his options, mostly just to wait out M80 and see if he can make an unforced error happen. And M80 are kind of buying into this too. Oh, it's timing. Oh, Swisher spotted him. That's it. OG Wizard now has to go. 30 seconds in. Swisher getting closer. Trying to give himself a better angle. As OG Wizard continues to burn down the clock. He's making life very difficult on himself, and M80 are not giving him an inch.
That's the thing. It's those two, Sin and Swisher, just playing non-committal English, going for information, and then swinging off of contact, springing the trap, and making it very difficult to isolate the duels. Very well done from M80 to secure this second. In spite of that stumble in round number 6, they're right back in the winner's column. And by preventing the bomb plant, they hamstring this T-side economy. One player can buy an Experative, no one else really can. It's going to be pistols and armor, a Mac 10 for Nick X. All around a pretty potent half buy for Lag, but do they have the answer needed to best M80 once more?
Swisher around that smoke has a couple of opponents waiting on the other side. Swings on through one, but only one. Lisa scaling forward, running to by Sin. As he'll also go 1-for-1. The op of Slacks finds nothing, and now gun salvaged for Lag, Space, and the plant. Rek and Lake coming through to try and retake this site and avoid having another round isolated. Lake has a lineup in front of him, though. All three players huddled around the same general vicinity. There's the lineup for Lake, and the last player spotted and dealt with by Rek, but a very costly round again for M80. Only one surviving, and that was the half investment of Lag, too. This B site, again, being a bit vulnerable, this time on Ancient instead of Vertigo.
Indeed. Very much the same. Op picked up by Rek, as you mentioned. Going to be dropped over to Slacks. That was a rare miss from him. Lag, a very tenuous advantage, but they got the bomb plant off a half buy. That means they can invest now with rifles and pretty solid utility on everybody barring Nick X and Experative. Still a very potent investment. Swisher, in the meanwhile, making concessions. An MP9, less than ideal towards B, but it will serve in cave. Aggression from M80 as they get control of Jaguar early.
Oh, there's the entry from Nick X, but Weeza team kills Nick. Swisher and Lake will combine for 3, with the latter finding 1. Experative, the last man standing, in the sudden flurry of kills onto the B site as it now is locked down, and the take has been rebuked. Just Experative, 1 exit kill, takes a lot of damage, and will probably try for more damage, as every single gun he can take out of M80's account help significantly in damaging the CT economy. But Experative backs into T-spawn and is goading M80 into these peaks, into the pushes. Fight me, peek me, give me more guns. He's hungry for them, but he wants to make sure it's more effective than anything else. Oh, he's making all the noise that they know. He wants these fights. He wants the pushes, and Slacks will give it to him. Doesn't matter, though. Full HP, USP. Slack still holds his own, and we're tied at 4 apiece, heading into round number 9.
3 lives, well, builds up that CT economy slightly. Lag with no bomb plant and no real showings for that last round. Probably going to be on a half buy once more. Maybe some upgraded pistols, maybe some Kevlar, but they probably can't have both. Deagle, Paratech 9s, 2 Deagles, and a P250. Okay, some upgraded pistols, 3 sets of Kevlar, a little bit of utility. Again, the makings of a potentially potent round, but M80 are trying to put this into cruise control in their favor, establish a lead. They're getting confident, as you can see, pushing middle, pushing cat, as we saw yesterday. Lag going towards A once more, this time though a far slower creep from the CT side. Thing is, it's being read by M80 immediately.
A lot of information towards mid and towards Snake, giving M80 this read. They're ready to send this take back again. Leg shot, the jump saves Nick X for a moment. He'll eventually fall to the M4 of Rhett, who doubles it up. Swisher's throwing support flashes. Slacks is going for more damage. He already has one. Somehow OG Wizard's not dead yet, and he will be the last to fall despite being contacted very early into that take. And Swisher will come through to clean up the last two. 5-4 now. M80 stabilizing things after a turbulent start. It seems they've hit their cruising altitude, Nate, and pretty soon they'll be free to move about the cabin.
They've already been moving. Have you seen how much of a control they're taking and how early in the round they take it? Complete Snake control in that round. Very quick rotation towards A. No real chance for the bomb plant. Lag, another rifle round in hand, but the lack of a bomb plant again haunts them because they don't have utility on Weeza and they're lacking some on Experative Nix and Nick X.
Look at all that volley damage.
And they put it on the jump up towards Cat. That is what keeps Lake from getting control early and spamming the smoke. Also, as you mentioned, does a lot of damage to the very same player. It's going to make this hold not really possible. They need control up towards Cat to really make it stalwart, and so they'll fall back. Smart call from M80. Lag, how do they adjust now that they have control?
Well, they technically have control, Lag, but at the same time, look how deep they are still with a minute, 5 seconds to go. 1 player deep outside B doors, 4 players bottom of mid, entering to bottom of mid, 2 from Snake, 2 from T side. Weeza up towards, oh, that's a great duel by Sin. I thought that was going to get awkward as Swisher was trying to boost up, but Sin's right there to bail out his teammate. And so, M80 now have the man advantage on a dry fight. Lack of utility coming through here from Lag as well. Swisher does get traded out. Nick X goes for the peak. Slacks though on the op. Misses a critical shot. It has to fall away. Challenge, but the shotgun op will at least strike for 1 and keep it at a 3 versus 3. 1 there was critical. Getting 2 was very unlikely for him given the spacing. Sin here to back up Rek, but he is demolished. Rek sprays wild, but Lake's come through to help out as well. And the 4 HP Lake has to try and drown Nyx here. So little time on the clock. Nyx is playing with fire, and Lake just has to bide his time. He doesn't have to make a move. Now he does. Nade goes in. Pulls Nyx off the ball. Nyx is pushing. The spray doesn't connect. And Nyx, by the thinnest of margins, will hold the line and tie it up at 5. A quad required for him. And that is a huge round to define for Life's a Game. Closes that gap again. And thins that CT economy out, heading into the last 2 rounds of the half.
The lifeline, a big clutch to find that nade thrown to pull that player off the bomb. If there was no hesitation from Lake, if he just ran away, putting all his eggs in that proverbial basket, he would be victorious. Of course, he doesn't have that luxury of information. It wasn't a Molotov he threw. Straight aggression towards K. This again, there's some OG Wizard at the helm, and Sin to rebuke. Both Weeza and OG Wizard felled for the price of half of Sin's HP. He's still having a tremendous map. Might not be that star-studded performance we saw on map number 1, but still more than serviceable. Slacks on the op, now getting another spot in another uncharacteristic place. I have found the art to peeking into Slack's scope, it appears. This time, though, Sin closing the gap, finding 1. Nick X finds Lake Shore, but it's a 2 versus 4, and they're both locked out of the sight and in a corner. Rek through the smoke finds 1. Nyx, the last alive, not long for this world. Maybe a kill. Nope, blindsided by Swisher in cave. suffocating round from M80 as they suck the air out of the B bomb site and at least have 6, likely 7 off the back of that victory.
It's going to be Mac 10s on 2, a Tech 9 for Experative. OG Wizard at least has an AK, but his performance on this map far pales to what he did on the first. Only 5 kills, now 3 Mac 10s in play, 4 lives a game. Great nade damage from Lake as he dives into Donut and sprays down a pair. Actually, it's helped out by Nyx, as Nyx was the one to open things up for M80. The team kill, another team kill for lives a game as well. Zin will charge in for his second of the round, and OG Wizard, the last one standing over towards B doors. That was the hero AK. That was all the eggs in the basket for lives a game, and everyone else went mid. The AK finds nothing, probably hoping for a ramp push, but that never came, especially with all that mid contact. And what could OG Wizard do in a 1 versus 5? Has a lot of trials out in mid to pass. Makes noise on that jump, too. That should just about seal his fate and end his run. Lake, the double dink. And another 7-5 M80 CT half. We'll see you after the break.
A half in map number 2, much like the half in map number 1. A 7-5 tenuous lead for M80 heading into their T side of Ancient. It's Pineapple, Phillips, and Boggs to bless the ears in this second half. And M80 who look to put away these two best of ones in a 2-0 fashion. Pistols out for both teams, of course. It is the pistol round. Is there a hit in play? No, it's a molly instead for Nyx, who's spotting alone over towards A. Meanwhile, Lag gain control of middle. 4 players here. 1 up cat towards Jaguar, and 3 down below holding towards the elbow. M80 thinking about pushing forward in towards middle for an A split, but Weeza rebukes them at first contact. OG Wizard, suppressorless USP, is forced away, and Nyx now is at bat towards A main, dropping Sin. Advantage secured. Make it double. OG Wizard drops Slacks, Wreck, Swisher, and Swisher. The final 3 left. It looks like there hasn't been a disconnect. Weeza drops Wreck. It's just the aforementioned Swisher on his lonesome, not with his duo in pair.
Yep.
What can he really do? He's alone on B with no bomb. A lot of time at least, but again, not favored at all.
Lake got taken out by the Loch Ness Monster. And so Swisher falls in due turn. Seemed inevitable at that point. And so Lag won both pistol rounds on this map, Nate, which is pretty solid for them. Also, they had a 40% win rate on the pistol rounds coming into this map of Ancient. 43.8 to be exact. And it's not a tactical timeout, folks. It is a technical pause, awaiting Lake's reemergence in the server. He's back in. That expires. And we'll get back into the action here momentarily. I don't think we're going to see a force from M80 either. We should see a tie ball game, 7-all. Oh, new tech pause coming in. And so it looks like M80 want to make sure everything's kosher before they get back into the action.
Yep, it's probably like some sort of either loss issue, maybe some frame problems that he wanted to restart for. Oh, he's swinging his mouse around wildly to make sure everything looks up to snuff.
Ooh,
Hopefully this tech pause...
It's some loss. Ping loss.
How do you know this already?
I'm fast.
He's looking in chat. External assistants looking, using his resources wisely. Meanwhile, I like guessing. I like conjecture. I like being surprised.
You like the You like the art of speculation.
It's a lot more fun.
It is, but it also leaves you open to be wrong.
And I'm rarely wrong.
I like minimizing the odds. Shouldn't be too long, though, I don't think. Unless they have to do a server swap, in which case things will get a little bit longer, but we'll wait and see what exactly is going to happen here. But early opportunities here for Life's a Game to tie this up and build something out of this CT half. It is their stronger side on this map. 53.8% win rate. Meanwhile, for M80, a 60.1% win rate on the T side. So they'll be looking to also establish themselves, I will say. Experitive's had a very good map, though, for Life's a Game. Nyx as well. Nick X, he's keeping pace. Hasn't exactly had the best of most sparkling of performances. But OG Wizard there towards the bottom of the scoreboard is not what to expect to see, especially with Life's a Game within 1 round and essentially tied up with M80.
Yeah, getting bullied a bit is OG Wizard. So see if he can find more success in the second half. Again, they're prioritizing his success, giving him one of those 2 rifles going into this anti-eco. Looks like Lake is back in. I heard a tick in the chat, so hopefully things are looking better than they did. This is second restart for those of you wondering, so see exactly how it goes. Sounds like they are chit-chatting away, and it sounds like, and it looks like, tech pause has concluded. We're going to continue on with the action. And he said it was going to be safe. Not the case for M80. They're going in with reckless abandon. 3 tech 9s to make it 4. Sin. Will he make it 5? Yes is the answer. Very potent weapons. Lake is actually on a Mac 10 instead. We'll see how that weapon brings through in this round. And perhaps a fast B on the cards for M80.
I could see fast B. I could also see maybe even a little bit of a scrim towards Jaguar and Cave, but looks to be a B-door play right now from M80. OG Wizard up on Snake, keeping an eye on the cross. There are a couple of smokes down. There's a flash as well for M80 to use. They're just biding time right now, all huddled up together. Kumbaya. Chance coming on. Maybe grab some Aztec death whistles before they charge in. Be a nice little psychological factor. But that utility's going to clear clue, OG Wizards, to exactly what's going on. The smoke will actually keep them alive. Nyx is blind and taken down for free. Weeza has to try to fight out from Cubby, but is only good for one. That is far from good enough. OG Wizard blows the smoke away from Cave. Counter nades coming in as the stream of CTs come through on the retake. They're falling like flies. Wreck with a double headshot on the Tech 9 as they try to cross through the smoke and are met with an instantaneous trip down to Hades' domain. M80, another forced by T-side victory, this time without the plant in the pistol round. And Lag are on whatever they can muster. Armor, pistols, an MP9. Any way you slice it, it's not pretty for the CTs.
It's dire. 3 pistols, 2 of them being a 5.7. One of them being an Eagle. MP9s. Not all utility either, and they're going to try to take the fight to middle. Lake swinging out, does some good damage, but can't get a kill. It's a big opening to find, and an upgrade perhaps for the CT side. M80 adjustment is to go towards A. Smoke donut and a flash to keep them within. Very well done and well thrown by M80. Rek finds Nyx in the meanwhile. And OG Wizard towards the back of Temple fares no better as he is caught. Rek doubling down now on his MP9, harvesting the SMG money. Nick X, though, not expected on the flank, finds one, finds two, and still survives. We're back to even footing. Rek, though, commanding control of Donut, brings it back into his team's favor, giving just Nick X a hero versus 2. Would require 4 in the round, and with time ticking away and no kit on his belt, he's just going for exits at this point, trying to take these T's down with him. Right now, no one's giving him the kills. He'll find one, not the second. Sin gets the kill, fades away to CT spawn, and now extends the lead for M80 to 3, while also sending Lag to a save.
Maybe a P250 or a Deagle for Nick X. Nobody else should be investing much of anything at all for the Lag, and we'll see what Nick X actually does. He can drop a few P250s. He can actually afford to drop 3 P250s and still buy a little bit of utility, but he's only going to buy a flashbang or 2. OG Wizard has the rechargeable Zeus, Nate. So we'll see if anything funny comes from that business. But overall, should be double digits here for M80. Much the same sort of trend line as we saw on Vertigo, too. Literally the exact same start and second and third. And we know how Vertigo ended. If in case you missed it, 13-6 in favor of M80.
At this point, it was a slide. M80 dominated utterly from there. Pushed into B. Makes sense for Lag, trying to use their numbers. Good dink. Like on that flank drops Nick X. The last one alive was on B and was spotted. Nyx, good dink and kill onto Lake, but that's just the Mac 10 dropped. Acceptable loss by every metric. Sin gets a trade. Rifle stay up for survive. Good utility left on the belts as well. Good start for M80, kicking it into cruise control on this T side and building the economy very quickly.
It's going to be building up massively fast. The op is out for OG Wizard. Slacks will have a big green dropped to him as well from Sin. So we will see the Oppers duel potentially once more. A lack of utility for Lag again, something to keep an eye on the CT side. Only 1 smoke, 2 incendiaries, and 2 HEs, 4 flashbangs. Is very difficult. And that 1 incendiary already extinguished in smoke. Sin's caught Nick X from behind through the smoke on Snake, and Lake's already through into another kill on the same area. Once more, Lag are getting picked apart, and M80, I think cruise control might be a little bit too light of a term for them, as it's more like they're kicking it into autopilot or self-driving mode. Experitive and OG Wizard to a 3v2 now as they go 1 for 1. OG Wizard still alive as well, but overall, Life's a Game are bleeding members, and they're hemorrhaging rounds.
They are next in Jaguar. Double swung. Not even a double is required. No points of damage taken by either Swisher or Sin. Sin has had a terrific performance on the evening. Top fragging both maps for his team as the IGL. OG Wizard the last alive. Probably going to try to save his op once the bomb gets planted. Once he realizes it was a B play. So it'll be a quiet end to round number 17. Lag, though, running out of room at this point. It's going to be 6-11. We're going to have next to no money, which means they might even half buy around the op, which desperate. And from there, they need to win 6 in a row to come back to overtime. I guess either win 7 in a row or win 6 while losing 1 to get to overtime.
And the latter is a lot more likely than the former. Seven in a row from this point, incredibly unlikely, especially given how well M80 have been playing. They've also yet to use a timeout in this map, so they have all 3 available. OG Wizard will be able to save the op, but Slacks will have one tossed over from Rek as he has that saved. Still 1A1S in the hands of this T side as well. So any unhelmeted opponents very vulnerable to that tap. Sin another massive map too, 17-7. He's had a fantastic series against Lag here tonight. MP9's on 2 though for Life's a Game. 5-7's on 2. Kit for that OG Wizard op. Utility is honestly better than last round, despite them having a weaker overall buy. OG Wizard down in middle, though, tucks into the mid-copy. There's Sin, flashed and gone. Lake knows where he is, and that's a big one from Lake in the second onto Experative, who was stuck with green flames and smoke and bullets. Weeza doubles down from Snake, though. Slacks tries to peek around the smoke, goes a bit more aggressively, and has Weeza dead to rights, who may have overstayed his welcome. A potential flank expected by Slacks, too. It all comes down to timing. Nick X biding his time, now makes a move, and Slacks reads that to perfection. All up to Nix now in the 5-7. And given the fact that the A player pushed, logically reason A's probably open here for M80. And as the Molotov burns on Snake, it seems that's where they're going to go.
Seems like it, but they're still waiting. They know Nix is going to get aggressive and desperate. But yeah, they should know he's towards B, or at least was. That was his stomping ground, and that has been his stomping ground throughout this first half. Slacks closes it down. A very slow start on the CT side. It's important to note that he was the one blessed with the caster's curse in this map. We didn't have time to talk about that in the pre-show, but he is our player to watch, and he is coming alive in the dying embers of this map.
And now that you mentioned it, he's going to get insta-domed by something.
Yeah, but you have to mention it.
That is true.
He had a slow start. So he already subconsciously knew that he had gotten selected. Like, one last buy. M4s, the op, utility, the kit is there. They hit all the necessaries. The question is, can they hit the shots? And there the Opera's duel 1, as you mentioned, against Slacks, because I mentioned that he was the player to watch. Early advantage for Lag. They can't afford to squander this. Backs are literally against the wall. Weeza nearly furthers it, but a bit of a whiffed spray. Won't overcommit, though. So Lag will hold on to the advantage.
No inroads yet for M80. Still have Snake and Jaguar control. They've not made their way through Cave. Experative is pushing deep in through middle as well, potentially setting up a flank behind these players. There's a duel taken by Weeza and lost, as Swisher will behead him. Now Experative's flank can start to come into the picture, as Utility will be thrown by Sin. Do they expect the flank, though? Experative is caught by Swish. Lake takes down Nix as well on the entry into sight. OG Wizard reveals his position with that nade, and the bomb will go down 3 versus 2 for M80 to close out the second best of 1 of the night and improve to 8-0 on the season. OG Wizard flashed, and he does hit Lake. He burns, but down to 44 HP. Winnable 2 versus 2 for Life's a Game. Nick X has that kit, flashes on both, one smoke available for the CT side. Both players grouping up into Cave now as Sin groups up with Swisher. Blind spray, 1 for 1, 2 onto OG Wizard. And M80 will take down Lag by a mirrored score, 13-6 and 13-6 on both Vertigo and Ancient. Well, Life's a Game. They played a good game fundamentally across both maps, but it really came down to the skill diff in the end.
Yep, I do agree. I did like their style. I liked the way they played. It looked structured and well structured at that. but they didn't quite have the depth or the talent quite cultivated thus far to really hold a candle to the likes of M80. Contentious halves in both of these best of ones, 7-5 narrowly in favor of M80. But once they entered that second half, once they entered that driver's seat that is T side, they really didn't look back. They really kind of kicked it into high gear and closed it out rather succinctly. Again, to recap, 13-6 on Vertigo in that best of one, 13-6 on Ancient in this best of one. Very dominant overall performances from M80, but lag still showing us solid building blocks and solid fundamentals.
Yeah, again, I like what I see from lag consistently. They keep growing and growing. Now they did get beaten by a better team, and let's look at our player to watch, who was Slacks, as you mentioned, in the final round, whereby he then lost his first duel against OG Wizard with the op of the night. But 1.2 KD, 12 and 10. Not bad for the Opper. Not the flashiest performance. That really goes to Sin and to Lake. 63 ADR is not bad for the Op as well, considering it's not taking a lot of duels. It's pretty much one shot, one kill, and he got 12 kills. So most of those coming on the Op means his overall damage is not going to be as high as, say, a Rifler, who's going in, doing damage onto one, doing damage onto another. But Slacks, solid. The team got what they needed out of him, and that is exactly what they need out of Slacks. They don't need someone to go take over a game necessarily in his stead. Sometimes, yeah, it's nice. Last night comes to mind. But here tonight, they just relied on the rifles.
Yeah, they did. And they call the op, my friend actually, former pro player in the NA scene, called the op the KPR cannon. He did not call it the ADR cannon. It's all about kills and impact against potentially lit players, so that is your primary impact. Again, he had a slow start in that second map, pretty solid finish with that 3K, and I think their 12th round victory, but I'm not exactly sure. Either way, M80, a cut above lag, and that's overall the story through and through here. Again, 13-6, 13-6 on Vertigo and Ancient. But that is going to do it for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and for this week of ECL NA coverage, if I'm not mistaken. On behalf of myself, my co-commentator Boggs, our production crew, have a good night and a good week. We'll be back next week with some more ECL action. See you then.